morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think that most of us can agree that landscapes that burn are pretty dynamic places. And just as we use traditions and lifestyles of people around the world to characterize their cultures, we can use aspects of fires in different places around the world to characterize fire regimes and understand how fire relates to plants and animals in those places. Let's take plants as an example. We can use 4 aspects to characterize fire regimes. We'll start with the first one, frequency. How often do fires occur? Some plants in South African shrublands that burn need 10 years before they can start to produce seeds. If fires occur too frequently, those plants are killed and can't reproduce. Frequency. Secondly, intensity. How hot or severe are the fires? Lodgepole pine in the western United States stores its seeds in cones high in the canopy, and these cones are coated with a waxy resin. When a really hot fire burns through, that waxy resin melts and the cones open and drop the seeds on bare soil that's just been burned by the fire. Frequency, intensity. Third is seasonality. Under what weather conditions do fires tend to occur? In the southeastern United States, savannas, fires tend to occur, they can occur at any time of the year, but they tend to occur when the weather becomes very hot and dry, just before the onset of the summer rains. There's a very cool grass species that grows there. This grass only flowers after fires, and it flowers the most after fires that occur at that hot, dry time of the year. Very cool. So we have frequency, intensity, seasonality. Fourth is extent. Over how large an area do these fires occur? This is important because if a fire occurs over a large area, it affects many different types of plants. So some plants that drop their seeds close to them will be able to germinate on bare soil. Plants that disperse their seeds far also germinate on bare soil. But if fires occur in a very small area, pretty good chance that only the seeds that are dispersed far will reach those localities. So it takes all kinds of people to make a world, but it also takes all kinds of fires. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. When I was little, I loved detective stories. When I grew older, taller, I became an environmental detective. And my favorite cases are those in which I discover what landscapes used to be like in the past, so that we can restore landscapes that have been changed or degraded by human activity back to healthy landscapes again. So I want to share with you one of my favorite cases that I solved when I was in South Carolina in the southeastern United States. And historically, this region used to be covered by extensive savannas that burned frequently. Well, I had someone come up to me one day who had a plot of land that he wanted to restore back to savanna. But he wanted to know, is there a particular time of year that he should burn it, perhaps, when plants and animals were used to experiencing fire? Or did fires just randomly occur throughout the year? So I thought, who could I ask? How could I solve this? Well, just as you might go to your grandparents and ask them what their world used to be like back when they were young, I knew of a grass that's only found in these savannas. It's called wiregrass. It lives for a very long time. It doesn't disappear unless you plow it or dig it up. And the interesting thing about wiregrass is that most of the time, it just sits there reproducing, sending up shoots, sending up shoots, sending up shoots, until a fire burns through. And then it produces flowers and seeds. So clearly there's something special about producing flowers. It's likely very energetically costly to produce these flowers, or else it would be flowering all the time. So I thought perhaps this grass had optimized its reproductive effort to the time of year that was most likely to coincide with that time of year when fires were most likely to occur. So I went to an area where I knew this grass still existed. It wasn't talking to me, so I burned it. I burned it in the spring, and I burned it in the late summer, and I burned it in the winter. Torture did the trick. That grass talked, just like that. What do you know? This grass produced the most flowers in the late spring. And incidentally, historical records indicated that's the time of year when lightning fires were most likely to occur. So, in the end, the key to the past was in the grass. Thank you very much.